I want to know what you're going to say.
All right, we are live, Chelsea.
Brian.
I'm uh I'm kind of impressed now that we're able halfway through our season. We only have 10 episodes remaining. That spur of the moment we can get live and get the show going with like 7 minutes of notice.
Well, when we are talking about the show live and almost exclusively live, it makes it easier. I can either not plan anything with you or get live.
That's and that's a thing that I've been working on myself in that when we first started all of this and even with my own podcast whatnot there was always this preparation of everything had to be set, had to go through checklist, make sure everything's on or working, restart everything. And I think in the last few weeks I'm just kind of like, yeah, just we'll throw it out there. It's
Let's
fine.
just do it. Well,
It's
these
fine.
are, I even try, well, I don't try. We do these during the day. So I have the
We
natural
do.
light and it's kind of hard to shut out. So it's like, we even have a different vibe. Like, this is my check in vibe. I have my official mic for my evening one.
It's a very informal type thing, and I think that's kind of the flavor we were going for. And it's just something I enjoy it. I like how we've kind of backed into this is kind of how the shows are. The weekend
Hmm.
shows are formal, planned out. We do a little work form, and then the midweek review ones and the planning episode is kind of like boom. We're just kind of here. But I will tell you though, I'm a little discombobulated, and nobody knows this, not even anybody in my family. But I'm going to tell you simply because if something were
And
to happen,
everyone watching live, you
every
remember?
every one person that is watching our live show
Okay.
and the 15, 20 people that end up watching it later on, which we appreciate it. Thank you very much. I almost electrocuted myself this week.
What?
Yeah. So, I'm a big DIY guy. And if you've
Uh-huh.
followed my gardening channel over the last few years, I do a lot of not only gardening, but DIY stuff. And I go around the house and fix the dishwasher, the dryer, like take it apart. And a lot of the stuff, because I'm forced to having to do it now in this stage of my life, I'm able to. YouTube is a godsend as far as, man, there's anything that you have that needs to be fixed, somebody has it and has fixed it and put it on YouTube. So I use YouTube for everything. And I'm probably 99% in everything that I've tackled, probably 30, 40, 50 home projects in the last few years. I've been able to fix myself, and I'm very proud of that.
It's impressive.
Before before kids, what is that? BK, before kids, we would just buy. So dryer goes out, let's go buy a new washer dryer. Dishwasher goes, let's get a new dishwasher and a new kitchen while we're at it. Things kind of change. So the air conditioner, we have a heat pump. I live in St. Louis, Missouri, and last few years we've had some issues with it, either freezing over, mice get up into it and short circuit it, and then the mice basically fuse themselves onto the electrical component.
Oh.
It's happened 3 times, and it just happened again this past week.
Oh.
So the wife is like, "Oh, I think the AC is down. It's not blowing cold air." And we can tell because we use my thermopen, and we can measure the temperature of the air that's coming out of the vents. And it has to, if it's working, it's down like in the low 50s. And then if it's not working, the compressor's not working, it's blowing basically just your standard, it's just a fan blowing. So there was something wrong. I went outside, opened up the panel, but I shut everything down, electrical stuff, and I pulled the, what's that thing? There's another safety switch or something right outside as well that you can pull to cut the electricity to it. So I did that, opened up my panel, and I looked inside. Sure enough, there was a mouse completely,
Oh.
partially exploded. If you want to see, I put it on TikTok if anybody wants to go see it.
I kind of
Went
do, but I. Ugh.
yeah, it's totally creepy. And then you're like, why are they doing that? Because the other two times it happened in the middle of winter, and you're like, okay, well that's where they go to get warm because that's where the electrical stuff's going to keep warm. Why is he going? I'm assuming it's a he. I don't know. Could be a she going in
Florida
there
man.
in the middle of the spring. So, anyways, we get the mouse off. I use a little hockey stick and get it off, and um, later on, I go back out there because I have to put the panel back after ever I turn the electricity back on and all that good stuff. And so the corner part of my panel, and my wife's home right now, and I wonder if she can actually hear me talking about this, and then I'm going to be in like big trouble. It's really stupid, like stupid for me. So the corner panel was kind of dented in. The corner, I couldn't fit the panel up in there and slide it in to put the screws back on. And so I took the corner of the panel and I put it in between a seam of the metal of the compressor, just thinking I'll put it in there and then I can bend the whole panel and make it nice, a nice corner and nice and flat.
Yeah.
Not thinking, well, what, I'm not messing with the electrical, whatever. So I stick the corner in and I start pulling it back to straighten it out, and I get what is that, 240 volts?
I have no, like, give me a relative. What does
It,
that
I
mean?
think instead of the, what is it? What are we on? 110, 120, like regular outlets, and then your big
Mhm.
appliances take like 240. I think you've got two different. You got the ones that are like low voltage throughout the house, which is like your outlets, which your kids put their fingers in, and we always, and then it's like the big appliances use like 240, and I think that's the stuff that can kill you. Um, and I I got zapped real good, and I was able to fall back and let go, and I guess it was adrenaline rush or whatever, and I was like, oh, am I having a heart attack? Or you don't know. And I
First thing
kind
I read when I look up what it would feel like, it's likely lethal. It should cause injury or death.
of, yeah. Ugh. So, yeah.
So, like, this was, and then you were like, oh, Chelsea messaged me. Yeah, let's go live.
Well, this wasn't today. This was I forget what day this was. But ever
I
since
don't want you to
that
forget what day
happened,
it was. That seems not great
I
for
know.
your medical state. What day is today?
But I'm not a young, healthy young buck, you know.
Is that a good?
And I ever since I'm like, did that mess up my electrical system internally? Is my heart kind of fucked up?
Yeah, you were shocked.
Um,
240 volts, it says should be lethal. Unless both of your legs were not on the ground. Was one of your legs up?
well, when I do things, I always like to
I don't
do it
know.
one-legged or whatever and have one
Like a
leg up.
ballerina.
I
Are
had
you sure you don't have a burn? Because you should have a
I
burn.
I don't think I have a burn, although my fingertip feel like the extremities tingles just ever so slightly, almost like it's burning, but I don't see a burn. And I everything about this is so stupid. You get careless. I was out there barefoot and it had been raining. So I'm out there barefoot on the grass, wet grass, just trying to I was just running out there to put the panel back just so, and I was like, I'm not messing with the electrical. I don't need to shut everything down. So I remember I think I'm like squatting a little bit and then putting the thing and trying to straighten it out, and then boom. And like ever since, like the last couple nights, I'm laying in bed at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna wake up. Is this
Oh,
it?
God.
Like
How?
my head just,
So you've no physical burns.
no physical burns.
How's your eyesight?
My eyesight's always has gotten progressively worse, but that's in the last couple of years, just from age.
It
Nothing
sounds
within the last few
like
days.
with you living right now, the biggest concern would be physical burns and potentially cataracts.
Really? Oh, you're
Yeah.
gonna tell me that, and then now I'm gonna be
but nothing else.
I feel different. Not different like
Maybe
a
you're gonna turn
Marvel
into
soup, like
Spider-Man.
when
Yeah,
Spider-Man got
that's what I
bit by a spider, and he's like,
You're
"Oh, I
like
feel."
Mouse Man.
Yeah. So I don't know. It is.
It
I've done
sounds
stupid
like
things
you should
before
be
in my
okay
life.
though. Like
I
there
know, but
shouldn't be
it's one of those things.
anything.
Why take the chance? Like for anybody that listens to this, just don't get lazy. It's not worth it. It's really not. I mean, can you imagine if that's the way I went out? You
I
know?
mean, everything I read was could be lethal, probably not, but wouldn't recommend it. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, it
It
sounds
it did
like
not feel good.
you need to put that with that dumb ways to die.
And normally something wacky like that happens. I part of me would be like, oh, I've got to somehow document and put it up on social media somehow.
I
And
think Mouse Man. I think it's you turning into Mouse Man, or
it's
you doing an arabesque, and because both your feet weren't on the ground, as Elise shared, that's why you didn't die.
I guess I was grounded that way. That I don't know, but it messed with my head in a sense that I'm like I keep thinking, I was like, God, I mean, that's so stupid, and how close I probably did come to something happening. And yeah, I mean, I'm obsessively depressed about it the last few days, just thinking, because I'm like, I may not be out of the window of something coming from that. Like maybe part of my electrical system internally has been messed up. So if something were to happen, and you guys don't see Brian and Chelsea make a podcast for episode 15 on through 24, you can imply maybe that was the cause if I'm not around. I'm not messing around. I mean,
I know you're not messing
I'm dead
around. Go to
serious.
the doctor.
For
You
what?
can-
For what?
What do you mean for what?
There's nothing else. What can I do?
They could check your heart, which would be the other concern that I didn't want to bring up. They could
Uh,
check your eyes, cataracts in your eyes, and a heart problem. Sounds like they know nothing about the brain. So if it did something to your
Gardening on the
brain,
prairie, a la Flatliners.
yeah.
So I mean, so that's yeah. So that's me so far this week.
Wait, are you gonna go to the doctor?
No, I mean, if I start progressively feeling worse or something, it's hard to get me to go to the doctor normally.
You're
You're supposed to
concerned
go.
for
I know.
your health.
I know.
There are people who address that.
I know.
If you start seeing ghosts, Elise would recommend you go to the doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brian got electrocuted.
Well, I didn't die, so
Obvious.
that
Well,
would be
as far as we know.
electrocuted is you die from, right?
No, you were electrocuted.
I think that, can you look up the definition of that? I think
Oh yeah,
electrocuted
I'm
means you
looking.
died from.
No, injure or kill.
Oh, well then I was electrocuted.
You were electrocuted. He was electrocuted trying to repair a panel in his backyard.
I feel like I'm having a bloody nose, to tell you the truth. Like how you feel like something's.
You're like falling apart as we're
Oh,
talking.
God.
You need to go to the doctor and just get your heart checked.
Do you think this would be the one episode we like get 50 viewers to watch later on?
Maybe
The
Elise
episode
has
that
her electrician in the backyard. Elise, please ask him if Brian should go to the doctor. 240 volts. Apparently, it's likely not 240 volts. Like it'd be very unlikely that it was that much. So it's definitely more than 120. It's probably not 240 in the minimal research I did. And if both of your feet were grounded, it probably left your body quickly. It doesn't matter how much voltage. It matters how quickly.
barefoot in the wet grass.
Yeah, the wetness I read not good.
You should have seen the mouse.
I know. Think about it. I think
The
you
mouse
should
had
still get your
just
heart checked.
died because all of a sudden we could tell the temperature in the house and the humidity was changing a little bit. And so when we went to go get him out, you'll have to go see the TikTok. But the face of the mouse was, and the body was still kind of soft, so he had just gotten electrocuted.
Yeah. I mean, I hear the careless piece. Though I will say, like, the whole thing wasn't careless. Like, these things happen. The carelessness is not going to the doctor after.
Yes, but I really should have any. You're messing with HVAC or the dishwasher, your wash. It just unplug the whole thing. I should have, even though I was just going back out to put the panel back on, I should have just pulled the plug and the breaker. That's what I meant to say earlier. The secondary
Right.
breaker, just to be cautious. And you know, most guys, they're like, oh, you're afraid of getting electrocuted? Well, yeah, fuck, I am.
You should be.
I am.
Yeah, of course. I just outsource. I'm still in, I don't know if I'll ever get out of the stage of life. I'm not really a DIYer. But
We weren't either. We weren't either. And now it's just, it's evolved into, well, it does save a lot of money. And it's kind of, I like to pat my back that I'm able to figure out a lot of this stuff. And I feel more, I walk around like, oh, look at me.
I have two videos you should create. One is you need to do the dumb ways to die video. It's still popular. Two is I want one of you transforming into mouse man.
Into a mouse man. I almost feel like I'm tempting fate by doing that though. That's why I haven't done any video on it.
Why? Because it'd be so awful to have Marvel skills.
No, but it seems like I'm making light of the situation if I did a video. And I thought, well, at least I can do it to warn others, but nobody's going to care. And then you know what? I don't want to fuck with the comment section. Every
No.
every guy that probably looks like me that does electrical work or whatever will and just go after me in the comments. I just don't feel it this week. I don't feel very spunky.
You're posting a video where the comment is dumb ways to die. That's the expectation.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to deal with the comment section of people.
That's fair. I still would say just go get your heart checked.
You usually say the right things that I should do. You and my wife also.
She won't watch this. She won't know.
No, but I'm sure she can probably hear me talking because she's working from home. She's upstairs and I'm down in the office. But it was my neighbor who is my eye doctor that I went in for my eye checkup that finally told me this was 3 years ago. He was like, "You have high blood pressure?" Because he's checking my eyes, and I don't know how you can tell that in your eyes. And they took my blood pressure. He's like, "You need to go see your doctor." He goes, I'm not messing with you. He goes, "You need to go see your doctor. You're really high." And it turned out I was like dangerously high. So I'm glad that scared me into going. But I'm a typical person that's just, I guess, like me. I won't go until it's almost too late.
Okay, so I don't like going either. So I'll throw a different scenario at you.
Yeah.
WebMD or me searching is trash, and we know that. So email your doctor, and or you have to have one of those like video doctor people.
I can video her. Yes, I love her. She's a fantastic.
Perfect. Then just email her and say, technically, I'm fine. I'm wondering if you'd recommend I get checked out after an occurrence like that. And maybe she responds and says, if you're fine and it's been a few days, you're fine. And maybe she responds and says, given your high blood pressure, I'd recommend you come in and we check your heart.
So, okay. And then I'm going to say one thing, and then we're going to get into our review and then plan out for this next episode.
Okay.
Maybe this is the state of healthcare in America for people.
I'm going to say one thing and then we'll move on. Maybe this
and then
is
I'm going to drop this.
Yeah, what? One little thing. Maybe this is healthcare in America.
For a lot of people, their healthcare depends on if they think they're going to be able to afford to go see the doctor.
Yeah.
And so I'm getting off of my last checkup a few months ago. She had me run a vitamin D panel or something. Do you know how much that cost me? Like we run everything through insurance, which is a huge scam anyways. It was $200.
Yeah.
To check my vitamin D. When I got that back, I was like, fuck, I'm telling her I'm not doing that again. Because there was some other medication she wanted to put me on. I'm like, it's like $85 a month. I'm not paying that.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, then you can die. And I'm like, well, maybe I need to find a way to pay for it then.
Yeah, death not great. And also the opportunity cost of this. You say that you feel off and that you've been depressed for X.
Yes.
I don't think death is the opportunity cost here, but the opportunity cost, depression, doesn't sound great. Feeling like you're too careless, etc. What if they're like, which some things I read, 240, it was probably less than that. You're probably okay. Don't do it again. I don't think you need an appointment. Just peace of mind. Like, how much is peace of mind worth?
Yeah. No, you're right.
See, Elise
You're
is
right.
asking her electrician. See when she
You're
gets
right.
back.
You're right.
Yeah, just
I'm not going to do it, but you're right.
I don't disagree with you on healthcare in America, though that is a much larger bomb than what we were talking about. I don't disagree with it, though. Like, people shouldn't be trading off peace of mind. Definitely not death, but they shouldn't be trading off peace of mind.
It's so. I mean, it makes me think. I mean, I'm aware that there's a lot more people that are worse off than us, like my situation medically, financially, or whatever.
Yeah.
And there are people that are like, we can't afford it. So,
no, totally.
Okay, great. I mean, so that's kind of where we're at. And I don't know. So maybe that'll be an episode before the end of our series that we talk about something serious like that. But let us get into something a little more fun and review our last episode, Dirty Minds.
Yeah. So I want to start this because I'm very curious.
Yeah.
So just for context for everyone, on our last planning episode, so 2 episodes ago, you and I were chatting. You had other ideas for this episode. I really pushed Dirty Minds because I thought it'd be easy to do last minute, and I'd played the game before. Mm-hmm. While planning, you seemed bought in. Then once we kicked off the episode, you definitely seemed like, what the heck is this? I don't know. There's actually a clip of you saying, well, people even like this. So I'm very curious, now that we played the game, what you think.
Well, it's funny you picked up on that quote because I picked up on it also when I was editing that quote. And I was like, well, I hope Chelsea didn't think that I was like, I thought this was a bad idea. And I did. I knew going in it was going to be a fun episode.
Did you? I was like, I think you're a little unsure.
No, the unsure part was I just didn't know how it was going to go. Like, I didn't know what rules or how you wanted to play it. Yeah. And then I said what was internally in my head in a sense that I hope it's entertaining for people to watch. And, you know, from the clips and I've posted 2 of the 2 clips. You know what's funny? The clips, like these particular clips, do better on YouTube. Like each one has gotten like over 1,000 views.
Pretty good.
And then TikTok and Instagram, it's like nothing. It's weird. Again, I don't know how. I put the stuff out there on each of the platforms, and then hey, however the platforms want to deal with it or something.
But in your, like, for you only playing, do you like the game?
Yeah, I'd love the game.
I was pleasantly surprised. I haven't played in a long time, and I was like, oh wait, this is fun.
It was fun to play with you a game like that because I feel like, okay, we're kind of hanging out, just playing a game like I would if I had friends come over like we, a long time ago. And then another part of me was analyzing as we're playing, seeing how you're playing it, like your reaction to it, which again is the second clip that I posted, which I don't think you've seen it on Instagram. It's on TikTok right now. No. But the entertainment part is you setting everybody up at the beginning that, you're this, not this prude, but you're like, well, I don't, I'm this kind of potty humor. And I'm just like, and then like the second clip I've posted, I mean, you're like dying and laughing and just, and that was the fun part for me.
That was fun. So, I was better at the game than I remember.
Yeah, so, you're really good.
Pleasantly surprised. The cards were also hard. I was a little worried they'd be too easy. As we got going, I was like, oh, these cards are not, well, we did miss one altogether, but yeah, the rest of them were achievable, not right away. So that was fun.
It is different when you're playing in front of people. You know, like if you watch game shows at home and you're not like on a live or anything, you're just watching on TV or something, and you're so much better doing it that way. Like, oh, I can answer this. I can be on Jeopardy. But being on the show, like I felt a little bit like when we were playing our cards, like there was a little bit of pressure for me that I was like, I started feeling like, why can't I get these quick?
And
Like
you
Chelsea's
weren't
like,
particularly
peanut
slow.
butter.
You were
Peanut
also,
butter.
we
5
were
seconds into it.
tied.
Peanut butter. Lick,
You were winning the game at several points, and we were tied throughout most of the game. So you have this like false. I beat you at the very end. I did win. So I did not feel that pressure. I was curious. My like just natural competitiveness. Rarely are games totally fun. Like I'm just too competitive. So there's always a piece of I want to win. So I either go into the game and be like, I don't care about this game. This is a dumb game. I'm not even here to play. If I think I'm really going to lose, so I don't get my head into it. Or I'm probably competitive. And so when everybody's like, oh, it's just fun playing. I'm like, it's fun winning. I'm having a great time winning. I don't know about playing. So I was not pressured because I had normal pressure.
Well, I had pressure because I felt like, okay, you had set it up to where I should be good at that game.
I know, I did do that.
It's not coming to my head. Then I start feeding into that.
So like tricky games. Like I didn't mean that on purpose. This was my learning last time I played, so I was truly curious.
On top of I thought it was fun, and the fact that you had the audience as a third player, I thought that was a great idea. Also,
that was good.
Keeps people involved. Nice. I thought that did really well. Just to be critical, and I think you and I kind of mentioned it a couple of times, like some of the cards. And again, this was the free version that you probably rustled up 2 minutes before we went live.
Bootleg card deck, you know.
Yeah. So I can't be too critical of the way they were worded or whatever, because as I was watching it back and trying to do some of the editing, which I can't even get started with that.
The sound is off or something.
Well, the wording, and then some of the questions or the clues. When I went back and looked, I was like, that doesn't really make sense. So then I'm like, can I?
Oh wait, your sound just went out. Is it just for me?
Sorry, my hands just move around and I hit the button because I'm still
electrical shock.
Yeah, my impulses. Like I'm serious. I'm like fidgety.
You could get your nerves checked, I think.
I know. Which I had to do one time because of my back surgery back in 2011.
Oh.
So I was wondering if you and I, for fun, not that we're going to make it an episode or anything like that, but I was like, I wonder if Chelsea and I could come up with better cards than this.
So potentially, I highly doubt that's what I'm not good at. It's just not in my repertoire, especially not of comedy. Like, it's just not something I'm good at. I'm not great at the puns. Definitely not great at the sexual innuendos.
But maybe you're good at working on a team. Here we get to your team thing again, to where it's like, okay, I'm coming up with the stuff, and then I'm getting feedback from you. Does this make sense? Is this funny? Like,
yeah, can I guess it?
Can you guess it? And then you're like, oh. So I think together, could we come up with a really good deck?
Mm-hmm.
I think we could, and I think it would make a lot. I think it would make a lot more sense. But then I'm also like, maybe I should just reserve my judgment of how good I think you and I can make a deck until I actually see the paid version, to see what actual people that get paid for this game actually have come up with.
It's very similar. So one time when I played, I do distinctly remember us trying to guess the dirty version as well.
Right.
That was where it wasn't always clear, is like, I can't exactly tell. Maybe they're talking about this or that. Or like clearly there are just some sexual words in here, but like I can't guess the dirty thing you're talking about, you know? Like it doesn't point to like one thing.
Right.
So, and I distinctly remember that from the card deck. The thing I liked about it is I didn't have to make up any structure. Like we were able to play the game as the game is played. That was exactly how it's played. Like normally you pass the card around, we had you and I go in. So it was exactly the same way. The problem that will always occur, I found, with that type scenario is there's just never enough cards. And this I even experienced with like normal, that's why you have all those expansion packs for days on end. Like Cards
Right.
Against Humanity, I don't even love playing anymore at all because like we all know all the cards in the deck. And so the combinations aren't ironic or funny anymore unless you have like the expansion pack from this year.
Right.
So that game too, like we can't play that game again, but I like the concept of the virtual games. Most require more than 2 people, so this gets tricky. But in the pandemic, like started playing Spyfall and code names and things because everyone was making these bootleg virtual versions. All of them had glitches because they were bootleg, but you couldn't gather with friends. So it's kind of
Right.
cool. So that I enjoyed, but I don't think that's solvable. Like it should be solvable. Like we could see if your AI robot can make us.
I bet you I can get my Snapchat AI to come up with some. I have to kind of trick her into it, because then if it's anything kind of sexual or anything that she deems as not pornographic, but kind of crossing the line that way, she's very quick to this is inappropriate. I think we need to come up with something else. But you can, if you work your way around to get her to back into doing it, then she'll do it. Which
Also,
not that I've tried that hard, but
I was like, so overall, pull up from Amanda. I think our audience liked it. Our audience members were very participatory, more than most times.
yeah,
Amanda liked rewatching it. I did see comments on Instagram that were like, I got this one, give me the next one. Like, that's what I like is if we don't give away the answer, we have people participating even on Instagram. Clearly, we didn't get that high of numbers, but I don't know. I was like, I think that's a fun way.
I think things like that, where you're playing a game on a show like ours, I think that's a great course to kind of continue to add into a show. So whether or not your show is nothing but playing games with people or whatever, but I thought in addition to playing Dirty Minds with somebody, it's also an insight into who Chelsea was. So for me, watching how you react, watching how quick some of these words come to your head or something, I'm always constantly kind of analyzing in the background as well. So I thought that was kind of cool too, because I'm still getting to know you.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So I think that was a successful week. I think that we've had a few kind of fun shows. And so I'm thinking maybe if we look towards the next episode 15,
Mm-hmm.
that we do something a little more. I think we get either serious about something or have a discussion about something controversial, or no. I mean, or you're
Healthcare
like
in America.
healthcare in America, and
I'm open to that. It's definitely, I don't, if we ever done that.
we haven't. But that was our challenge.
No.
24 episodes, 24 shows of trying to do just different things.
Oh, no, I agree. I was just trying to remember, has that ever happened? So I'm looking at our Miro board.
And really, it's only 12 episodes, because once we decided that the midweek shows are going to be us reviewing and planning, so that's, you take out half the episodes of us performing.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking this week we do something, getting away from the not frivolous, but I mean, it's fun, but just kind of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We need to try something different. I like that it's definitely something different. I think there's 2 angles we could take with it if you're interested. One, not serious, but just like, I'm kind of just serious, just plain direct to the topic. The other that we do have on our list for the topic of what we think, I was sharing, my friends and I did wigs meetings where we'd take controversial topics, but we'd wear silly wigs. So like, yes, we're talking about something serious, but we're remembering not to take ourselves too seriously.
Right.
So we could do like, you're not making it silly per se. You're just trying to keep it lighthearted. But I don't know how much we need that, but like, would that be funny? Would that be interesting? I don't know.
When you told me about this wigs idea, I thought it was. I was like, oh my, I want to do this. I wish I was there when you guys did it before,
It was
and
good.
it's something totally what I would have done back in my college days or whatever. I do have a drawer next to the bed with a ton of wigs, so I can pull out
Wait,
any wig you want and assume
why?
any. Well, everybody has their wig drawer. It's their,
Sure.
we all keep different things in our drawers.
You have a drawer next to your bed full of wigs, and you're just gonna leave it at that.
This coming from the person that has a pleasure machine in her
Okay.
drawer. So, who's spotlighting who?
I couldn't remember the name, and I have a 2-year-old. There is nothing in my drawer.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
okay. Brian
I
has
can
a
do it.
drawer full of wigs.
I can do, yeah. So if you want to do something to where we're wearing a wig,
I
but
think
then we
let's
have
do
something
wigs.
serious.
Yeah.
Okay, so are we calling this wigs? I don't want to like copy what you guys had going on, or if this is something that other people do.
They're not doing it anymore. So we totally could. It was already borrowed from somewhere else. We could use that. Or we could call it something different. I guess what would maybe help in terms of the content. And Amanda also votes for controversial. So
You know,
let's get into it.
real briefly, just because this just popped in my head.
Yeah.
Wait, you have your kid is in the room or no?
No.
Okay.
I meant I don't have a drawer full of pleasure
Well,
machines in my
what.
bedroom.
So I was at my sister-in-law's house long time ago. Whether it was either Thanksgiving or Christmas, one of the two times that we would even go there, where my wife could get me to go out. And 10, 15 years ago, I'm trying to remember, because my nieces and nephews are all junior seniors, and my niece comes out. What is this?
Classic.
And you're like, that only happens on TV shows or whatever. It happened in real life. She came out waving her mom's machine. So I'm like, whatever people are keeping, make sure it's all, if you're into guns, some people keep those locked up.
We're equating dildos to guns right now. That's what you're doing.
Well, I'm just saying.
Same.
If you're locking certain things up or whatever, but
The
you
purpose
just
of
never
one
know.
is
Your
not
kid,
the same as
your
the
kid
purpose
could
of the
be
other.
going through your drawers, and it's like, look at this. What? Oh, and it's all doing all kinds of stuff. And they're like, hey, what's this? And you have maybe your new school friends are coming over to the house now after you've gone to your party. And
I love Brian giving this advice with his drawer full of wigs.
well, you can come out with a wig and wave that around, and people are just like, nothing.
No, I think I'd still have a question mark if your child brought out a wig from your bedroom.
So we're gonna have a wig episode. Is that what you want to call it? Wigs?
No, okay. So the content of the episode, we'll see. We can, but I think the
Okay.
content of the episode, I know you've mentioned a few specific topics that we could go into. I wonder, like, do we want to pick one topic? And it was a very different structure. But back when we did it, my memory was the one topic would just get dull. And even if it was like as controversial as it could be, a lot of topics we picked weren't controversial enough, which was very common. So I'm not saying do multiple topics. I just think we need multiple options. Like, even if we, like, I know you've been interested in like separating the artist from the art and different things with that, but even that topic for a whole hour. So like we could do another crowdsourcing, give us controversial topics and sort of like vote or go off a list or have something to do to switch between topics. Or we could try for one.
Well, what if we do a little blend? I think that's maybe what you're hinting at. Maybe we come in with, this is what we're starting out with, and then anybody that's watching can dump within the comments something to see What's your take on it? And then it'll
Korea.
be fun to kind of see. And I'll show my cards right now because when I'm thinking about this, I am going to wonder, is this how Chelsea actually feels, or is she just good at debate and she was in debate in high school and she just wants to debate one side or not?
I'm very, very good at debate. I was in debate in college. I don't know that would be. I like a good. So that's, I think, my bigger problem. I like a good debate. If we're limited to one topic, so I like this idea. I was more presenting a problem than a solution. I don't know what the solution is. So let's go with yours. We have a topic in mind. We plan that right now. We'll bring that, and then we'll open up to other controversial topics from the audience, because that's more what bothered me. Was like we picked a not controversial enough topic, and we've kind of already discussed this one. We definitely already discussed this one, so we can't do it. But I like Is Love Blind
Right.
because it is truly debatable, controversial. Like you can sway. There aren't many topics like that.
So so you mentioned my whole thing about separating an artist from their work. What
Mm-hmm.
if that falls under a question I propose to you? Is cancel culture even real? Because I think if it's under that type of umbrella, there's a bunch of stuff, bunch of ways that our conversation can go, and I can start it out with specific scenarios of over the last 20 years, things that within pop culture, media, our family at Thanksgiving, things that get canceled, and people claiming, well, culture is wrong. Well, my screen just went out. Is it
Oh,
still
I
on?
still, yeah, yeah, I hear you.
Oh,
I see you.
uh, it's something that within the last 24 months, I hear nothing but people talking about cancel culture and it's got to stop. It's gone too far. And my kind of take on that, when I actually sit down and think about some of this stuff, I'm like, I don't know. I'm not even sure cancel culture is real.
Sure.
I think it's an easy way for people to drive ratings to whatever they want to talk about. And another thing is, I think uh, when it comes to, let's just say, cancel culture, if there's things out there that you're like, oh, you can't do anything without getting canceled these days. My other issue with this is, I think for the most part, and I'll be pretty general about this, I think we're all hypocrites when it comes to it. So
I,
is there stuff there that we can talk about, debate, or
I think there
poke?
should be. I'd be curious. My pop culture knowledge is not what you may think it is. So,
Well, but
but
it's whatever. Are you? I mean, you're familiar with cancel
oh
culture,
yeah, yeah.
so I'm
No,
going to ask. I'll
I get the
ask you.
basics.
Well, what is the actual? So I'm going to ask you, what is the actual definition of it? Which I think we all have our own interpretation of it.
Yep.
We've all canceled something, and then we all blame everybody else for canceling.
Yeah, potentially. We've all canceled something like a subscription or
Well, yeah, but uh, here's one that I haven't talked about. I don't think. Jimmy John's. You familiar with that sandwich chain?
I am. I don't know about the problem with it, but
So
yeah.
Jimmy John's, the owner, the main person, Jimmy John's, Jimmy, I think his name is Jimmy. I don't know. He's
That'd be
he's
funny
a
if it wasn't.
he's a guy that likes to go big game hunting and post a lot of pictures of him shooting a lion and
Okay.
a dragon or whatever he goes out and kills. So then everybody on this one particular side is like, we will never. I can't believe that he takes pleasure in doing this. We will never eat at Jimmy John's ever again. And so that's a big one. But then with Jimmy John's, then you have Chick-fil-A in there. Um, and then that's a whole nother thing. And then you
Yep.
talk about the different artists that I've mentioned before, Bill Cosby, Chris Brown. I mentioned those because that is what I grew up with. Those are things that I'm interested in.
Mm-hmm.
And when I mentioned it one time, somebody was like, "Oh, so you're picking out the." Then it gets into the race card.
Yeah.
Well, what about the white people that do it? This is what I've watched. This is the music I listen to. What do you want me to do? I'm just making a comment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that'll be not the problem with it, but that'll just be the restriction with a conversation like this. Is we're restricted to our contexts, and I'm not the most knowledgeable on the topic, but it'd be worth discussing as long as you have enough prompts. And then I think a fun way to go about it too is to do the same setup we did for Love is Blind. Yeah, we could, I like this from Amanda. We could crowdsource examples of cancel culture. I mean, I've heard the examples as you're referencing. I know what they are. But if you were to be like, Chelsea, give me an example of cancel culture. I don't know. Like, it's terrible. I'm thinking of Taylor Swift. But,
you're thinking Taylor Swift. Here's
not her
one that's
being
even better
canceled,
for
or
you.
her canceling people.
The original ones of people that are that relate to. I mean, you're a little bit younger than I am, but you went through the same time period as I did. One of the first big pop culture, cancel culture things that happened were the Dixie Chicks.
I know. I was about to say. Yeah. So we can do, I think that'll work because I think we'll have enough examples. I do agree with Amanda. We can crowdsource. The piece that we did with Love is Blind that I liked, we just want to get to it earlier. I don't think it's fun, or we could figure out how to do it, but just to open with like, oh no, I disagree with cancel culture, moving on. It's like that closes the discussion. If you really have like an open debate about something, you kind of don't want to give full cards away. Or we could say, here's where I am starting my position on this topic, discuss, do I feel it's adjusted in some way? Any of that, I think, would make the setup pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, if you're fine with it, again, I'd like to just leave it at your hands to direct us through the episode. You know what I want to talk about.
Yeah, but you're going to need to direct us content-wise more through an episode. Like, just use more content on this. That's all.
I mean, I'll bring certain things up for sure, but I mean, you can big picture direct us through the episode whenever that's going to be.
Would you like to share opinions on it right away without discussion and see if they adjust, or would you rather just discuss broadly and then get to opinions?
We can kind of come to the table, dump. I can essentially set it up to where I'm like, I don't think cancel culture is real. So then we go from there, and then, Chelsea, what is cancel culture? You tell me what it's supposed to be. Definition.
In my opinion.
Well, I'm sure there's a definition for it.
I'm not doing research on cancel culture.
Well, no, but I'm saying, I'm sure there's a Webster's dictionary of what that is, and then
research on cancel culture. I can pull up the definition, but here's the thing: I am trying to share right now. I am not an expert on it. I don't care to be an expert on this topic, so I want to be fun for me. I'm happy to speak to my opinions and debate. You know.
Yeah.
But if you want me, I'm just not gonna do it. I don't have time and I don't want to. I don't like it that much to do it. But that, I think then I could bring an interesting perspective. My perspective is 99% of the stuff I hear about cancel culture, I get bored by.
Well, so then that would be something that we can kind of discuss in there.
Yeah, like I have intentionally avoided it. So we think about being knowledgeable on subjects. I find myself knowledgeable on a lot. This is one where I'm intentionally not.
Yeah.
And that won't change before the episode. That's all. So is that something we're comfortable with?
It's a thing that I think everybody throws that out there quite a bit. Most people throw that out there as far as cancel culture. In the last 24 months, people cancel things, and then people complain about people canceling things, and so everybody's like, oh, can't do anything. Can't say anything racist anymore like we used to in the good old days. Well, you know what I'm saying? So I can't listen to certain artists because they're in jail for imprisoning and raping young girls. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean that sentence is loaded.
Are we all going to hold the same standard across the board?
Sure. No, I think there's space to play. You need to drive the conversation more for this one. So just make sure you're comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Because I won't think of the places to play with this conversation because it's not a conversation I follow intentionally.
Right. Right.
But I'm happy to have it. You're just going to be
Yeah.
directing it.
Okay.
And yeah, start with that opener. We'll go. I'll definitely be able to add opinions. I'm very good at that. And I would say, let's say, is cancel culture real and other controversial topics? That way, if we feel like we need new topics, we can get them. If we want to crowdsource topics, we can get them. And to call it something,
Yeah, we'll have to come up with something for.
well, like getting serious question mark, and the question mark is why we're wearing wigs.
You want to go off of the Batman Joker? Why so serious?
Oh, that's good. I wasn't
And
thinking
then
that at all.
and then it's a
Yes.
picture. Maybe then can I get a picture of you with whatever wig you're wearing and whatever wig I'm going to wear?
Yeah.
And then the sub line maybe on that is cancel culture and other things. Something. I mean, if you come up with a
Yeah. I just did that.
5-word line underneath it.
Yeah.
And then whatever, if anybody that's there that's wanting to be in the comment section or watch live, they can throw out whatever they want. And then I'm sure you and I will just say something about it.
Yeah. Oh, I'll have a lot to say about it. I just know for sure I won't be able to lead the conversation. So as long as you're cool with it.
Yeah. So
Nice.
Sunny's place, they're kind of hanging out midweek.
Coming in for a hot one. Okay, timing wise, I can do Friday, but unknown if I can debrief the following week. What's your preference?
Yeah, I mean, we do what we can. So I mean, if we can do Friday, I just assume if we can for sure get one in, I say we do that, and then if we have to take next week off, and then we'll just come back the following full week to where we can come back on a midweek episode just to review and plan out for episode 16. So the Why So Serious will be episode 15. Then there'll be a little break, and then we'll come back with a 16 in a week and a half or something.
Mm-hmm. If I have service, I'm going to do a test when I get to the beach and or there's a good time. I'll be down to do it next week. Otherwise, probably going to wait to the week of the 29th.
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool.
That's fine. Are you feeling like, and I asked you this in the last episode, are you feeling like you're able to start counting down to 24?
Yeah, we got 10 left, including the one Friday. Then it's 9.
It's like the pressure to make sure that anything that we're wanting to do, and if there's only 9 episodes left, then there's really only 4 of things that we can actually do, because the other 4 or 5 of those are going to be us just reviewing and planning. So there's really only 4 topic event episodes left.
Yeah.
And then we need to decide, is episode 24 the one where we decide what we're going to do? Or is it episode 25, the bonus episode?
I love that you just added an extra episode. Well, our even episodes have been content episodes. Or no, they're debrief episodes. So that won't work. So 24 will naturally be a debrief.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then maybe 24 will be it's the debrief supersized until my audio goes out around the hour mark or something.
I will say my flight Saturday is early. So we are probably going to be a semi-tight hour Friday. Is that okay?
This Friday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a hard stop, but I'm going to start pushing us to wrap at an hour.
I think we're going to have to, because the limitations, for whatever reason on my side, my audio starts to degrade quite a bit. So.
Okay. And you are making me confident that this episode has multiple dimensions for discussion. I just don't know what they are, but you do know what they are. So I'm confident we can discuss multiple things. You're just going to have to direct the show.
Well, with a hard stop, and then if other people are presenting certain things or just kind of curious, making their observations about stuff, I'm sure that'll fill in a lot of the time as well. And like we said, I mean, this is a trial balloon for either us on this particular show or other people doing podcasts or lives, whether or not they, what's the way of approaching talking serious topics. We're introducing wigs as we're talking serious. So, I mean, is that a thing that, kind of diffuses a bit? Um, I'm not one that coming out of this episode or coming out of the episode on Friday that we end up doing, no matter what we end up saying, like, I'm like, okay, there's nothing like you're going to have to worry about. Oh, I don't want to piss Brian off. I don't want to offend. And I don't think that you'd be like that other than just out of being a nice person. You wouldn't purposefully be like, I'm going to fucking destroy Brian on this, but I don't know. Maybe you are coming in that way. Maybe you're going to be super competitive. Did we lose Chelsea? She's completely frozen. All right, guys. Well, it looks like we are at the end because something's going on to where we've lost Chelsea's feed. So we will let you know. It looks like it's going to be Friday, episode 15, Why So Serious, going over cancel culture and other fun topics like that. So we'll see you guys on Friday night.